Welcome to the Retention Edge podcast. This week, I'm sitting down with Shaan Arora, co-founder and CEO of Alia, an AI-powered pop-up platform helping Shopify brands grow their email and SMS lists through personalized on-site experiences. Shaan bootstrapped Alia from a college dorm room to a $60 million acquisition. Today, we'll explore how brands can use personalized pop-ups to increase opt-ins, improve retention, and grow their business. Shaan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Shaan, you're the co-founder and CEO of Alia. You guys built an incredible company. Currently, it's an AI-powered pop-up platform, mostly for Shopify brands. You bootstrapped the business. You recently sold the business. Why don't we start a bit by the starting story? How did it all begin?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. And yeah, for sure, it's been a great journey, and happy to kind of take us through how we started from in the dorm room, led to a $60 million acquisition, and kind of where we are now. But yeah, I started the company actually while I was in college with uh, my at that time college roommate, and who then became my co-founder. We didn't really have much experience in e-commerce or really in startups at all, but we believed that there was a way to increase on-site conversions that hadn't been thought of before. So we launched the company actually while we were both at a bank. We were both interning at a bank, and I was like, I don't want to work at a bank, so I'm gonna find another way to spend my time and do a career. And believe we found something in e-commerce. And initially it was hard to get traction and customers, as you can imagine, right? We had one or two customers, both of whom were kind of friends doing us a favor. We tried a bit of cold email, got some more customers that way, and then really decided to go all in on pop-ups. We launched in April 2023, and then by January 2024 came around. I moved to New York City. We wanted to really push this, and at that time we had $0 MRR or $1,000 MRR maybe. So we weren't doing too much yet, but we really wanted to pivot into pop-ups. So we decided to kind of become a pop-up company and only focus on that one thing. And so it took us kind of 6 months to realize that, hey, in this whole on-site acquisition, on this whole on-site conversion world, we want to focus specifically on pop-ups. So since 2024 January until today, where we sit, July 2026, all we've done is pop-ups since then. That's all we care about. That's all we serve. That's all we charge, is how can we take your list from converting at 2% of the pop-up, people that see the pop-up, enter their email, how can we take that to 5%, 6%, 10%? That's all we do, right? And we now have 4,500 brands, including like Peloton Apparel, Nike Strength, Jones Road Beauty, Hex Cloud, a bunch of really awesome brands.
Amazing. So it sounds like it really paid off to go so narrow on such a well-defined problem within the overall kind of retention and email marketing and these SMS as well space. You have competitors that are, way more vertically integrated and much further in terms of what they do. Was it always this way? How did it happen?
Yeah, so when we joined the pop-up space, it was kind of similar actually how it is now, with like most of the brands using the pop-up that comes in the ESP, right? So let's say you're on Klaviyo, there's a Klaviyo pop-up. Great. Now, what we heard from our brands, the feedback we got was, hey, Klaviyo is phenomenal email SMS. They are amazing at that, right? So is Attentive, so is Postscript, so is Digital, so is all the ESP platforms, that they're phenomenal at that. The thing is, these platforms typically do not spend too much R&D or have too much of a focus on their pop-ups. Simply because they need to think about where they're going to put investments, right? And for them, it's more worthwhile to put investments in other technology in the business besides putting into pop-ups. And the funny thing is that most of these brands, wanted to stick with or use the ESP pop-up because they believed it was okay, right? And that was kind of what I heard in all the demo calls. And as CEO of the company, I took, 500 demo calls, so many demo calls, right? This is all I used to do. And I would be like, hey, so you're on Klaviyo, I see, how's the Klaviyo pop-up? They would say great things about Klaviyo. They would say the pop-up was mediocre at best. And that's hence why they were taking a demo with us. So that was kind of what we have seen, and still what we're seeing today, is that the ZSPs are not necessarily investing into their pop-up tool, which is totally fine because they're investing into other places. But then there comes time for us, who is a paid pop-up tool, brands who actually care about list growth, and they know that if they can go from 2 to 5% opt-in rate, it makes a difference to their business. Uh, those are the brands that we work with, that we target. And yeah, we've kind of become, I think, the dominant player here in Shopify, which is super cool for us to be. So if there's brands that want to increase their opt-in rate, they'll usually hear about us and then take a demo.
Awesome. And beyond obviously sharpening the positioning and the offer and allowing you to go, very deep on this problem. And so I'm sure building tons of great
Yeah,
innovation and kind of outdoing the competition, that we're kind of happy with the status quo and the typical implementation of a pop-up without investing much, as you're saying. Um, where else has this choice helped you grow the business, you think?
yeah, no, it's a good question, man, and it really has helped us a ton, right? So every decision we make can be what is going to bring our brands from uh, what's going to 2x, 3x our brand's opt-in rates within 30 days of them using us, right? Now, that means that across the board, we can make really good decisions there. So, especially on the technical side, and I'm very fortunate to have an amazing CTO and a great engineering team where they get to spend all of their time really innovating. And we have things called Smart Offers, which shows dynamic offers. We have Prism, which essentially shows different pop-ups for every single customer, right? So it's like getting really deep in the technical side of this helps us a lot, right? When you have an engineering team that's just, I mean, first off, fantastic, and number two, devoted to this one thing, it helps speed up development in a way where larger players like Klaviyo probably can't do it because they have developers focused on other things and there's tech debt. Whereas the tech that we have is building on it, building on that one thing. So that's the tech side, right? For now, from marketing, go to market side, um, it means that when I when we go out there and we talk to customers, it's a very easy pitch, right? It becomes, hey, you have a pop-up. It's not great. Ours is better, right? And we offer 30 days free and you can try it out. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, that's also fine. It does work most of the time, fortunately. um, but it really makes things easier for us from the go-to-market side when we don't need to sell 20 things. And it makes it easy for the
Yeah.
sellers because when they get on a call, they can just get in there and sell this one thing. And then from the CS customer standpoint, like we train our CS people on being really good at solving issues for pop-ups and doing that really well, uh, and having really good knowledge in that piece.
Makes sense. And it sounds like, as you say, you're making a very easy purchase decision. Try this thing out. It's either going to improve your opt-in rate or it's not. And if it is, then it's an easy buy, right?
Yeah,
At that point, you're selling based on the impact, right? And you're able to try it out and test it over a month. You said, right?
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, you also have made a maybe non-typical choice of bootstrapping the business, right?
Mm.
Um, can you tell me a bit about how and why?
Yeah, dude. I mean, in the beginning, we wanted to raise some money, but not too many people want to send money our way, right? So, in a way, we were fortunate that the VCs weren't biting, because you know, we got to boost out the business, which means that as founders, we had to keep more capital, all that good stuff. Now, they might have missed out because we from when they would have invested, from when we sold the business, they might have missed out, but it's all good. They can get maybe next time we start a business, they can get in that round. Um, but yeah, because of that, we also were planning on raising a family and friends round. So we actually had raised a family and friends round. We committed like $100,000, $150,000 or so, into a family and friends, and we were ready to take the money, but then we kind of took a step back and said, "Hey, like, what would we really need this money for? Like, do we is not having enough capital the issue in our business?" This was 2023 October. Uh, Low MRR, low interest, have not found product market fit. Very young founders, no experience in the ecosystem. Right? Capital doesn't solve a lot of those issues. Deploying capital to for marketing when you don't have a strong sense of what your positioning is as a business and you haven't found product market fit and you don't really understand e-commerce very well, those dollars will likely just go to waste. Uh, so right before we took the money, me and my co-founder really, I had two co-founders, of the co-founder who's also on the business side with me, the third co-founder's on the technical side more. Me and Corey took a step and we're like, hey, are we taking this money for vanity's sake, right? Uh, People raise money so they can post on LinkedIn and say, "Hey, I've raised 150,000," and all their friends comment, and they look like it's nice for themselves, right?
Yeah,
We were raising it, yeah. When we were raising it for vanity, man, we were raising it for vanity. So we said, okay, let's not take this money and let's try out all of the free marketing channels that exist, and let's go deep. Let's engage with the ecosystem. Let's get in Slack channels. Let's just actually get into the weeds of this thing, and then if we have exhausted all of the free marketing channels, let's go raise a round. And to this day, we still have not exhausted all the free marketing channels, right? 2.5 years later, um, because there's so much that exists in the Shopify ecosystem, which is so nice. So we decided not to raise. So we bootstrapped to an acquisition that was the only capital in the business was the acquisition, right? We sold 100% of the equity in the business to the acquire. And yeah, it was a great decision. Bootstrapping is very hard in the beginning, but if you can make it out, you tell everyone it's the best decision, right?
of course, and it gives you a lot of nice freedoms, beyond, of course, keeping all your capital. But it might have some downsides. But it sounds like at the time you were exploring PC, it wasn't time, right, to raise
Yeah,
money. You could have done what you eventually did without. You could have tested the market, found traction through free marketing channels, as you said, and that's, I would say, typically the best path, right? Like if you are to raise, you better get there once you have something that you have
yeah, so,
validated. And there's a lot that you can figure out initially through sales. So that you told me about doing hundreds of demo calls, right? That you probably don't need to raise
yeah,
for, right? To get in front of people and get all the feedback you need. Um,
totally.
I'm curious about those channels that you mentioned. What's that help you grow the business the most?
Yeah, so for us, it's really been our agency partners. So um, for the agency partners, it kind of becomes a no-brainer, right? Because for especially email marketing agencies, who they make their clients more money on emails,
Right.
what's the best way to make more money through emails is get more subscribers. Um, so we help these agencies implement it for their customers. We do actually a lot of the design work. We do pretty much a lot of the copy, design, implementation work of the pop-up, and then we also support over time too. So like, if you're an email marketing agency, you have a few clients, and you told your clients you're going to increase their email revenue by 2x. A lot of them will start with us as the pop-up. Um, so that's been our best. That's been our amazing go-to-market channel. We're super fortunate to have some great partners, man. And yeah, dude, it's like, you know, if uh, if you want to be an agency that actually produces results, a lot of times they'll be will be the first tech recommendation for their when they do an audit. They'll even bring us up in the audit. Um, yeah.
And tell me about that differential in performance that brands see typically when they start working with you guys. And what is really the driver of that? Is it the offer? Is it the technicalities? Is it the AI that maybe you guys have built into it today?
Yeah, it's a good question. So yeah, it's about we see about a 2 to 3x lift in opt-ins within 30 days, um, which is awesome compared to your previous pop-up. So if your pop-up was getting 5%, we'll see 10%. So the reason is we use essentially AI to serve the right pop-up to the right customer at the right time. Right? Like you and I are different people. We should be seeing different pop-ups because we'll convert with different offers and with different copy and with probably different at different times in our journeys. So how do we create one-to-one experiences so that we actually see different things? We see the pop-up that we should be seeing, and other people see pop-ups that they should be seeing. That's the crux of it, right? And now the layers as to how that happened, some of it I can go over, or if that's kind of sufficient, that's also fine. But it's creating a pop-up that only you should see because you're a specific customer. And by doing that, we see higher opt-in rates, but also better quality subscribers, because they're actually interested in the offer that you're giving to them, and they actually want to convert on it rather than just be seeing the same offer every single time.
Do you think that that's what's driving most of it these days?
Yeah, so I think it's testing out different things, right? So testing out different offers and not having to sit there and run manually like hundreds of tests, but are using our AI and prompting to essentially run tests for every single customer. And then you see the results, and then you put that to more of the population. For example, like let's say you should I put in get 10% or get a mystery discount? You start running tests, and over time you realize that get a mystery discount is actually a better copy in general. So most of your customers will now be seeing that instead of seeing get 10%. Um, so that like iterative testing and then showing it to more of your customers over time is really what we see drives more results.
It sounded from what you said earlier, you guys have been pretty hands-on with customers, right? Almost putting in a bit of service into what is typically a SaaS model, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, like we try to think for first principles, and if I'm a customer and I'm using a software, uh, if someone could help me figure out how to best use it, like I'll probably be a better customer and I'll actually use it correctly. Uh, so what we care about is like, okay, um, can we set it up for you? Like, let's set it up for you. Let's get it kicked off and let's give you service over time. Uh, there's so many software that people buy, and then like the implementation is like kind of difficult, or not that ours is difficult, but like the implementation, it can just take time and then you forget about it and then the free trial ends and you're just like, oh, well, I never had time to do it. We try to avoid that by just getting things set up right away. Um, and yeah, it's been a huge part of our business, honestly. Like our pretty much our biggest channel, including agency. The agency is a big channel for us, but referrals is like probably our biggest channel. People like it. They talk to their friends. They tell they talk to agency friends. They tell other buddies that hey, this works, and their team is really helpful. And if you ever run across any issues, they will fix it immediately. Like that by itself has helped us grow a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, I can see the value there, and it's something that we also try and do as much as we can in the mobile app space, right? And we kind of learned the same lesson, right? If we can take care of the initial setup, if we can help them be successful, it just pays off in the end, right? So we're all very aligned on that with the customer. Um, so, do you think a the typical pop-up offer of say 10% off is dead today? Is like not a thing for 2026, or is there still space for that simple play?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think like the issue with kind of coupons and offer styles, like customers are kind of trained that they're gonna see one, so
Yeah,
they're trained they're gonna see something. Now, like you can still give 10% off, but you can kind of uh, make that offer more enticing, right? You could be like, "Hey, here's a mystery discount," and then they open their email and they see that's 10% off. Sure, so like that works. Like imagine that you're on a site and it says get a like enter your email to get a mystery offer, so you don't know what that offer is, and then you enter your email and you see whatever that offer might be.
okay.
So that helps. Um, and then yeah, like we have some brands that don't even give an offer. For example, some brands simply say um, get early access, get VIP access, get a book, like get a guide on how to use the product. Um, get first like get cut the line next time for when we drop products. So stuff like that also works. And honestly, you pretty much give out nothing, and you can still collect subscribers. So we tell our brands like, hey, give something, right? And if it's early access, like all that means is you put them in an early access list, and then next time you send flows out, you maybe send it to them a day early. That's all that means. Um, and things like that are so low lit for a brand, but they actually boost your list, and people get pretty excited about that type of stuff.
Totally. We've seen something similar with apps as well that can play a very similar uh, effect, right? Like when you have your top 20, 30% customers in your app, you can play very similar games as you're saying, right? Early access maybe is all you need to give, and you're just sending out with a push notification
Yeah,
before everybody else. It can be even an hour ahead of everybody else.
yeah,
Um,
and people love that, and they also will be they'll feel more special too. Um, so that really works, dude. And Nike's strength, for example, in our customers has had early access on since they've been with us, and it's done so well, even just saying early access.
Amazing. Um, what else have you found it's useful when it comes to differentiating who's getting what, right? Like you have your whole customer list, you have everybody's landing on your site. Is there anything to how brands can better differentiate?
Yeah, it's a good question. And one thing that we've seen our brands do is like on different landing pages showing different offers. So like for example, if they're coming from a specific TikTok or they're coming from a specific Instagram ad or Facebook ad, you can tailor it to kind of that customer, right? So like if you're running a Facebook ad, in the Facebook ad, you write about some offer you're giving, write about some discount you're giving, or there's just like something unique about that ad. Then when they come onto the site, you can show a pop up that is more in line with what they've seen. So a lot of our brands will show essentially different pop-ups on different landing pages. We make it pretty simple to set that up. You can use AI as well. So like it sees what the ad says and then has a similar pop-up. That has been super cool and kind of makes the customer feel like it is truly one-to-one. So I think that's been a super cool one. And then offers, right? Like let's offer test. So let's try 10 versus 15% versus 20%. Maybe you're giving 20% to everybody, but like if you can give 15% to half the people and 20% to half people and you get the same conversion rate, you're saving margin. So it's a great test to run too.
Yeah. And I imagine with all that you guys have learned and how hands-on you are, a lot of the value comes also from learning from you guys what works best, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, like we render now about a half a billion views a month. People like this, but so our pop-ups get viewed half a billion times a month now throughout our site. So we have a ton of data and a team of people who like kind of know. And the thing, right? Back to your question on positioning, like when you just do this one thing, the people in the business know it so well that we can answer any question and we can just go so deep on these things.
Amazing. So tell me more about the acquisition, right? That's more recent news. How did it happen and what happened since?
Yeah, so we got acquired in March of this year. Um, it wasn't like we were necessarily going out there looking for an acquisition, but it's something that had been we've had offers in the past before. As a fast growing Shopify app with the young founders, people always love that story and they want to acquire businesses with good margins and great growth. So we kind of had always had people reach out. We hadn't really taken any of them seriously. We've kind of just been like, okay, we'll have a conversation at some point. The buyers Digital, they had recently acquired a company called the Social Snowball, who
Mhm.
the advisor is Noah Tucker, who's one of my really good friends, and he said great things about Digital as well. So when it came time for us to have a conversation with them, conversation went great. They were looking for the same things that we were looking for, and more importantly, they were willing to give us autonomy to keep running the business. So we're still running the business. Since we've got acquired, we've actually grown faster since acquisition than pre-acquisition. Like we've been growing even faster, and we haven't had any employees leave. Most of the customers have stayed. Like things haven't changed at all, which is nice. Um, it was a good way for our business to get like liquidity for the founders, one, and two, get the backing of a larger business. So like as we scale, right, there's lessons that I'm learning from their team as to they have 500 employees, we have about 42, so it's like as we scale up to 500 employees, right, that's the goal. How do we get to 10 million, 100 million ARR? Uh, and we're across 10 million now, but if we want to get to 100 million ARR, what does that look like? So a lot of lessons I'm learning from them. Also, they're a public company, so it's interesting for me to learn what goes on at a public company. It's like it's different from a private company, so it's cool to see these things.
Awesome. I imagine, yeah. Sounds like a great opportunity, especially the fact that you can keep running the business quite independently, right? Making your decisions around product. You're mostly focused on product yourself.
Now, honestly, I'm focused mainly on go to market. I'm fortunate that I have two amazing co-founders, Corey and Bill, who focus on product, and it gives me the opportunity to just focus on go to market. I love thinking about revenue, how to grow a business, what are new channels we can try out. That stuff fires me up. So I'm glad I get to spend most of my time thinking about that, and then my two co-founders spend most of their time thinking about product.
Nice. So what do you see ahead for the business, especially in terms of growth?
Yeah, I mean, so we've never run ads before actually. So we're gonna start running ads next month, and the month after, and the month after that. So we're excited about that. I mean, it should be fun. Like, uh, and then we're gonna do some other paid stuff. Like we're gonna work with more influencers now, and try to get the word out there. Like get more into TikTok and that community, right? I think like we've done a great job at getting into the LinkedIn and Twitter community of e-commerce, but there's so much more out there, right? There's like TikTok, Instagram communities that like live and breathe this stuff. So we want to kind of get more involved there. And then the other cool thing we're doing for growth is we've only been a Shopify, so we only serve Shopify customers. At the end of next month, we're now moving so that we can also serve customers outside of Shopify, which will be cool. Um, Now we essentially 2x the universe of customers we can work with,
Yeah.
and we're excited to see how that goes. We're still going to have a big focus on Shopify just because it's such a great industry. It's growing so much, and
Yeah.
I just believe in the Shopify as a company. Uh, but it'll be cool to go outside and see also like, hey, okay, there's good opportunities for our sales team to go after a brand new segment of customers too now.
Awesome. What do you think in your space is still areas where you guys can be innovating in the future?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think we want to work towards really getting one-to-one experiences, right? So like, how can we make it so that the pop-up that you're seeing is the most optimal pop-up possible for you? Right. So that's like marrying both the data that we have on the customer from, what UTM they came from, what region, what device, all that good stuff, marrying that with the data we have on the brand. So how does people, when they come to this brand, what do they typically do? And how do we have it so that the data on customers and the data on the brand are married together, and then it's really showing the right pop-up to each customer? That's what we think about all the time. And it's something I think we'll continue to innovate on. And there's never really an end to that, which is fun. It's like you can show you more and more personalized experiences.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I with AI, I think you'll be probably tempted by building more and more and finding more ways to create opportunities for improvements in that optimization and personalization that you were saying. And I'm sure you'll be able to find even more beyond how easy it is to build today. And I imagine how easier it's going to be for your customers to build this sort of experiences on your platform as you bake more AI into the platform, right?
Mhm.
When it comes to the channels itself, email and SMS, how do you see it evolving in the future?
So are you saying more from like how we do marketing as a SaaS company, or for brands?
No, I mean for your customers, like the use of these channels. Of course, there are some challenges. AI is also in the background, both as both making things easier and making things harder,
Yeah.
potentially to reach the inbox, really, which is the game. What's your take on that?
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting, right? I think like one thing is just being cognizant of list health. I think is important too. Like, right, we can get all these subscribers in, and we help get subscribers in. How do we think about list health? So like, how can you actually make sure you're cleaning your list? And I think that's pretty important, because if you start sending so many to people that have already either soft bounce, hard bounce, haven't replied or haven't opened it for months, like, you can clean your list up a bit. It should help domain rep. So that's one piece of it. Now, like, I think email and SMS are still going to be channels in the future for a while. Like, I don't think they're necessarily going away. Um, I think we're going to see an increase in sending to SMS. Now, SMS obviously has more like blockers now. They have like a spam folder. I don't know about you, but it hasn't been. I haven't. Most of the messages from brands still go to my inbox. Um, so I don't think it's really taking a huge hit on the brands who want to use SMS. Uh, so yeah, I think they'll both continue. SMS is already growing a ton. By the way, it's like used by like majority of our larger brands in the US. Outside of the US, I see WhatsApp is doing quite well.
Yeah,
I think I will see outside the US, like WhatsApp becomes a huge piece of their strategy. So I think that's something definitely watch out for. Uh,
is this something you guys are playing with as well? WhatsApp, is that an integration?
yeah, yeah, we already integrated WhatsApp, but like we're seeing a lot of more brands want to use that. Like Tom's, for example, it's a brand in the UK that did their shoes and all. Um, Now they're thinking more about using WhatsApp. Before it was just
Yeah, that makes total sense, and I think it's something that we're hearing as well a lot more and more, and it might make its way in the US as well
yeah,
eventually. Great. So, Chad, thank you so much. This was super interesting. If people want to find out more, where should they go to find out more about you and the company?
yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me. So yeah, I mean, I post pretty much. I've been posting almost every day on LinkedIn since January 2024, and I continue to do so. I believe. So you can find me on LinkedIn. Just type in Shaan Arora, it'll come up. I'm also on Twitter at I am Shaan Arora. And then for the business, it's aliapopups.com. So ALIA popups, popups.com. And yeah, if any brands want to do a 30-day free trial, happy to do it. Any agencies, want to try it out for their brands and get some good results, more than happy to of course, support.
Thank you, Shaan. It was great to have you.
Thank you so much. Yeah.